Hello all again. Uh, just got out of the Sally Field comedy. Hello, my name is Doris. I'd wanted to see this film a little earlier. I was planning on seeing it last week when it was down at Ridgeway, and then it got yanked out of Ridgeway for whatever reason. So I thought I kind of missed my chance. I wasn't real excited about it. It was another one of those, let's just go see what it is, because, again, no commercials for it, really. No trailers that I'd seen, anyway. So one of those ones I was like, all right, let's go see what this is. I'm glad I saw it. I really am. It's kind of hard to explain, really. For a comedy, I leave feeling very... I don't want to oversell it and say I left feeling moved, like I just saw Rocky or Argo or something like that. But this movie was very refreshing. Very refreshing. For everybody who doesn't know the story, in a nutshell, Sally Field plays this 60-something woman who's, she works in this very ultra-hip, ultra-modern... I don't even know what it is. I don't know if it's an ad agency or what it is. They never really say. And she gets this crush on this younger guy, played by Max Greenbelt, I think his name is. The guy who plays Schmidt on New Girl. So I always just call him Schmidt. And basically tries to... win him. It's a weird little movie in that the setup's very basic. So how this movie is unique and why I'm leaving it with a feeling I hadn't really expected to have is that this movie is a throwback to the old days of comedy. I mean, comedy recently, at least from my point of view, comedy is crap. Comedy movies are pretty much crap these days. I can't remember the last time I paid money to see a comedy in the theater. And that's not to say that there haven't been some good ones that have slipped past that I've eventually seen and then really liked. Things like Walk Hard and A Million Ways to Die in the West, So it's not to say that there haven't been some good ones out there. But for the most part, comedy it's pure and utter crap to me. It's 30 to 40-year-old men acting like 12-year-olds. That's what it is. And I'm not trying to bash immature comedy. I've got basketball on my wall, so I have no place to talk down to anybody. But I mean, there's nothing in there. I don't know. Comedy these days disgusts me more than it. Sorry, I didn't realize. Let's try that. There we go. It disgusts me more than it entertains me. And this movie is a throwback to a time, and maybe I'm remembering this time with rose-colored glasses a little bit, when comedies were funny, but at the same time they treated you like an adult. That it used to be a thing in comedies that there was one idiot in the comedy, and that was like the sidekick that everybody kind of went, okay, you shut up. But comedies back in the day, at least it felt like it to me, they weren't afraid to be human, and to kind of hit you, say that yes, comedy comes from pain and comedy comes from, seeing bad things happen to people, but if there's a good heart underneath it all, it makes the experience all that more rewarding. And this film is very much like that. This film is not afraid to have heart and to explore issues in an entertaining way that I think a lot of comedies these days would not even think of. I mean, you go see this movie, there's not one fart joke, nobody vomits on anybody, there's nothing about going to the bathroom, And like I say, there's not a bunch of, 40-year-old men running around acting like 12-year-olds. And that's another thing about modern day comedy. I don't know if this rant is really helping get into this, but that's the other thing about modern day comedy that I've noticed. Somewhere along the line, we decided it was funny if we had no characters that had anything remotely resembling a good personality. All our characters became bastards. I blame Adam Sandler. I don't blame him specifically, but I mean, his movies are a good example. All those films that he does, the characters he plays are assholes. And we're supposed to cheer for this person. Now here in this movie, Doris, as played by Sally Field. First of all, Sally Field is brilliant. There's no way you're going to convince anybody Sally Field is not brilliant and not a national treasure. She is amazing, and she's very good in this film. This character has a lovely center. She's a bit off kilter, is the character. And she does some stuff over the course of the movie that, is questionable. But here's the thing. A, she realizes it's questionable and admits it and accepts the consequences for it. B, you get the feeling that the things she does that are questionable, she's not doing to be an asshole or to be a terrible person. She's doing it out of loneliness or a complete misunderstanding of social situations. You get the feeling that she is a good person, and these issues are just things that come up in every day, where you have a choice of making the right turn or making the left turn, and sometimes in the heat of the moment you make the wrong choice. And I think she shows that and plays that off. I think one of the things, and it took me a little while to kind of get into this, one of the things I was going to criticize this movie for is I thought Doris was a little too, I thought they were trying too hard to make her kind of like I talked about in the Mr. Right review, to make her too quirky. Oh, she's just so quirky. The way she dresses, the way she talks, the way she's very shy and very, in and da-da-da-da. But without getting up on a soapbox and without forcing it down your throat, they kind of show that she's like that because there are some issues going on. That she's got some problems. Not saying that she's a bad person or not saying, anything else, but that she's got some issues she needs to work through, and that's a factor of it. They make it a part of the character, as opposed to just, she's quirky because she's quirky, and we have to have quirky characters doing quirky things. She's very real in her kind of off-kilterness. I think the rest of the cast does a really nice job. It's a cast made up of a lot of people I have never heard of, or if I have, and I've seen them in other things, I don't recall them. The only, aside from Schmidt from New Girl, who does a nice job, his only problem is that even in a movie where he's not playing Schmidt, they have him playing a very Schmidt-esque character, one of these characters who's, ultra hip, ultra modern. He loves all this, feng shui, and my cousin's a spiritual healer and all that, so he's gonna get caught in one of these uber yuppie typecasting roles if he's not careful. But he's good in this, and he's not the same kind of egocentric asshole that, I'm using a lot of foul language in this one, sorry, that Schmidt is in New Girl. So he's got that kind of hipster young New Yorker vibe to him, but not in a terrible or obnoxious way. So he does a good job. The only other guy in this that I'd heard of, and I can never remember his name, is Bill. I can never remember his name. He's an older man. He's a little chubby. The best thing I know him from is he was the voice of Bill, I think, on King of the Hill. But I've seen him in a lot. He's a character actor, and he plays Sally Field's brother, and he's really good in this because they try to play him off as the typical jerk brother who just wants something from his sister after their mother passes away. But he has this really nice moment with her where he's like, no, it's because I'm worried about you. I'm sorry, I'm not explaining this well. So this little subplot they got going on is Sally Field and Bill from King of the Hill's mother just passes away at the beginning of the movie, and they keep saying that Sally Field's character Doris is this hoarder, that she's keeping all this stuff, and Bill and his wife are constantly trying to get her to clear out all the junk that she's collected and sell the house. Now, they play it off in the beginning like it's kind of a thing you've seen in every other one of these movie like this, kind of like Goober and Sister Woman from Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, these kind of terrible siblings who are just trying to get something out of her. But they reveal in this really nice moment with her where, Bill says to her, I don't want you to become like Mom was. I don't want you to be all alone in here. I want you to get out and live a life and not just collect all this stuff. It's a really nice moment. So a lot of these characters that kind of come off as one note early on in the film almost all of them have a moment of genuine connection that makes them more than just, kind of a joke. I wouldn't say that all the characters are completely, fully formed, but I say that, again, in contrast to a lot of comedies that are out there now, these are some of the most real characters that you're going to find. And because of that, and there are some dramatic moments in this. I'm not going to go so far as to say these are Oscar caliber performances or moments, but there are some genuinely touching and hard to watch, in that there are very emotionally raw moments in this that juxtapose the comedy really well. The best film I can think of, just off the top of my head, to compare it to is City Slickers. Now, City Slickers was a lot more slapstick and, had, Billy Crystal and that kind of stand-up thing he would do. But in between these moments of silliness, there were these really profound moments of these guys at this certain age kind of looking back at their life and kind of figuring out where they came from and where they're going to go. And that's what this movie does really well. It's not as slapsticky, it's not as shticky, but it's in that same vein of a character who's at a crucial point in their life, has had a major shakeup in their life and is now kind of looking back at their past, but also looking at their future and going, okay, what can I do? I think it's would I buy this movie on DVD? I don't think so. But that's through no fault of its own. Just again, I don't know if it's one I'd watch over and over again, but would I recommend this movie? Yeah, definitely. I definitely recommend this movie. If for no other reason than it's nice to see a comedy that talked to me like I was a person, that didn't shy away from sad topics, and said that it's okay to laugh at these things, to have these, images of Sally Field dressed all weird and going to an Electric Underground band punk kind of concert to try to win Schmidt over. That's all funny, and it's very funny. She gets drunk when he starts dating a young, an actual girl his age. The scene of Sally Field getting drunk is funny, but it's not funny in that, ha ha ha, look at this stupid person and let's laugh at their misery. It's funny in that it's kind of silly to watch, but at the same time you feel for her. I think that's the other thing I liked about this film. Movies and things that have the theme of an older person falling in love or being infatuated with a younger person can get really icky and really creepy if you're not careful. And I think this film, there were some moments where Sally Field's character pushed that boundary a little bit, But again, it was explained in that, she was a little off. She wasn't a bad person. She was just, there were some issues going on there. But I think this movie did something else really well. Well, let me back up before I get to that. It so this relationship, or this proposed relationship that she wants with Schmidt, never comes off as creepy or sick or anything like that. It's handled very well. And I think this film does something else really well. And this could be me projecting again, kind of like I did with the Mr. Right review. This movie portrays loneliness very well. It portrays that person who wants to make a connection but just doesn't know how. And everything they try, they kind of feel like they're always being laughed at, or people thinking they're weird, or the world around them is just so different from them. It really does a nice job of portraying what it's like to be lonely and to try to break out of that, whether it succeeds or not. So I think that maybe is what hit me really hard about this movie, in a good way. One of those ones where you watch it like, wow, they get it. And unlike other things, so something I've never liked about The Big Bang Theory is I felt always in The Big Bang Theory they were making fun of those guys for being lonely. Ha ha ha, you're an outsider, you're lonely, ha ha ha, isn't it funny? And here, again, we laugh at Sally Field when she's, obviously socially awkward and obviously outside of it, but we're laughing with her. We're not laughing at her because she's lonely. We sympathize with her. We want good things to happen to her, and I think this movie does a nice job of portraying that. And loneliness is a hard emotion to convey without getting weird. So I don't know how much longer this film's going to be out, or where it'll go. But if you want a movie that actually talks a comedy that's funny, maybe not splitting your sides funny, not slapstick funny, nothing like that. But if you want a movie that's got some good laughs, but it's got a really nice heart at its center, and you really have the feeling that everybody involved with it is very sincere, and that talks to you like you're a thinking adult, then yeah, please go see Hello, My Name is Doris. I think it's a rare thing, and I wish there were more comedies like this. I think if there were more comedies like this, I'd go see more comedies. So that is my 2 cents. Next week's the big one, Captain America: Civil War. Looking forward to that. So looking forward to that. Thank you all for watching, and drive safe. We'll see you at the movies.